Continuing our commitment to keep you informed during Decision 2024, we are inviting every candidate for federal office into the 12 News studios. Today we are featuring Congressional District 8, and that covers much of the Northwest Valley, including parts of Peoria, Glendale, Surprise, Anthem, Sun City. So we've invited Republican candidate Abe Hamadeh to come in for an interview. This is an open seat right now, and we hope to get that scheduled soon. But joining us in studio today is a Democratic candidate for CD8, Greg Whitten. Good to see you, Greg.
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
You've got an interesting background, biosecurity. Tell us
Correct.
how you think that will play into if you made it into Congress.
Well, honestly, this isn't going to be the last pandemic, right? And every time we get out of a pandemic, we need to invest back in that. And so when I go to Washington, I want to make sure that we're prepared for the next one, so we don't have the issues like we did for COVID-19, where we have global shutdowns. So my background in that will be able to bring that to fruition.
What did you do in that job?
I basically oversaw the Chem Bio Defense Program, so I oversaw the large biosecurity program to include the Syrian Red Line. I also got things done. For the Ebola outbreak, my program was the first prophylactic to be put towards that pandemic.
And a lot of people worry about people coming across the border with weapons of terror and bioweapons and things like that.
Correct.
So tell me about how you would fix our border. Do you say there is a problem there now?
The thing that I see is that we already had a comprehensive border deal that was done, and the other party decided not to pass that because they want to play politics. I'm done playing politics. I want to solve this solution because Arizonans deserve that. And so what we need to do is we need to go back to that piece of legislation. I need to work across the aisle when I get to Congress and be able to finally deliver a comprehensive border security for Arizona.
What are the best pieces of that legislation in your opinion? I know they were talking about trying to get some more judges, work over the amnesty program.
Yes.
Is the amnesty program fixed?
The amnesty program is not fixed. The best thing about that bill was that at the border they could have amnesty hearings, and it put money into the DOJ. And so honestly, expanding that and being able to have that happen quickly instead of putting them into the country where across the board they can be 6, 12, 18 months, you got it done right away. And that's what we need to do. The Republicans want to defund DOJ. I want to put more money in there. I want to get more judges. I want to make sure that the president can shut down the border, which that bill also had as well. So it had all the pieces that we needed to start fixing this problem.
Are there any issues you think that are, I don't want to say specific, but bigger than others in your district? It's an interesting district, right? You've got Sun City up there, Peoria, some of Glendale, and then all the way up to Anthem. What are some of the things that you would do for your constituents in that district? Well,
Social Security and Medicare. The other party wants to have tax cuts that will defund those programs. I'm in houses every single day with constituents talking about how they have to make a decision between their medication and groceries, and I just don't think that is right. So we need to extend the Biden era capping of insulin and the negotiations on the top 10 drugs, but also at the same time we need to start looking at how we fix these public programs so the people that need it get it the most, and that's what I want to do when I go to Washington.
Probably about 45 seconds left, which is probably not fair. The economy right now. Interest rates. What would you do to help tackle those things?
So in my district, the biggest thing is jobs and good jobs. TSMC is in that district, 80,000 jobs over the next 5 years. It's a big chip manufacturing. The other party did not pay attention to that. I want to create good jobs so that people, when they go home, they can afford gas, they can afford food on their table, and they can support their families. And so that's what I'm going to be focusing on, making sure that my constituents get that as well.
Greg, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Good luck to you coming up here in November.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Continue our commitment to keep you informed during Decision 2024. We are inviting every candidate for federal office into the 12 News studios. And today we're featuring Congressional District 8, and that covers much of the Northwest Valley, including parts of Peoria, Glendale, Surprise, and Anthem. It's an open seat right now. Incumbent Debbie Lesko is stepping down to run for county office. So 2 weeks ago, we talked to the Democrat in this race, Greg Whitten. That interview is on our YouTube channel if you'd like to watch it. But today we are joined by the Republican candidate, Abe Hamadeh. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Troy.
Tell me about your background. You've lived in that district for quite a while.
That's right. I grew up in that district. It was my family's first American dream home. I'm a product of immigrants. My family moved to Arizona. We didn't have much money. We used to be on food stamps, believe it or not. And that was we lived in Peoria and 67th Avenue in Happy Valley. Back then, it was affordable to buy a house. This is about 20 years ago. I went to school up there. My family had a small business on 35th Avenue in Thunderbird, so it feels good to be representing the West Valley, especially with all this economic development happening up there. It's going to be a good place to go to Washington, D.C. to fight for the American people who have felt like they've been left behind, truly, Troy. Where we're seeing our country right now, it's not in a good spot. And that's why I was a former prosecutor at the county attorney's office. I'm also a former Army Reserve captain and intelligence officer who served 14 months overseas in Saudi Arabia. So there's a lot of changes to the district with all these foreign companies coming into the district. So I want to make sure we have be able to protect our national security interests, and that's what concerns me with this wide open border.
Yeah, a lot of the tech is really running up in that area. It's going to be exploding, I think. All right, you brought up housing. You said your parents could afford a house. I mean, a lot of young people today are saying, I don't know how I'm going to ever afford a house. What can the federal government do, and you as a congressman, to keep the housing more affordable?
Well, honestly, we have to open up a lot more federal land, what President Trump has been advocating for. Arizona, the western states have so much federal land that are just being sit on. So
who would get that? Developers?
Well, I think we have to put a bidding process in place. But right now, there's a lack of supply for housing. It's a big deal. But if you look at why are the prices increasing so rapidly? Since the COVID pandemic, you're seeing housing just skyrocket, especially in my district. And there's so many, foreign companies coming in, so there's a new population growth, but the demand isn't being met. So right now, government needs to get out of the way. Inflation is through the roof, and the reason why is because the economy is not doing as well as what people think it is. I mean, the stock market may be doing well for people, who are investing in that, but for the blue collar folks, they want to be able to afford the American dream home that they're promised.
So what can you do as a congressman to help that?
Well, I think we have to open up our energy sector. I think that's the biggest deal. What Kamala Harris and Joe Biden did is by, revoking Keystone Pipeline, going back with so many regulatory actions. We have to make sure that we have to be an energy dominant country. I served overseas in Saudi Arabia with the U.S. Army. I see that they produce a lot of oil that we import now. Under President Trump, we were energy independent. We have to go back to that because that's the biggest factor of our economy. And once you have energy, it goes into all sorts of other industries as well. So right now, I think the economy is hurting because of the policies that Joe Biden has put on us, and inflation is through the roof.
So you're saying bring the gas prices down or the energy prices down and help everything else. About a minute left here. So I want to talk, if I can, about the border. You've made that a big priority as well. There was a Senate bill that was in, a bipartisan bill. It got voted down. If you saw that bill, what would you do with it?
Well, I think we all can agree that hopefully we can all agree that we need to solve our border problem. It's a national security crisis. But I would have voted no on that bill because I don't think it went far enough. Allowing 5,000 illegals every day to come in is not a solution. We have to go back.
Would you say zero?
I think that's where we have to start at. I mean, as a security person, national security person, I worked on bases. We should know who's coming into our country and we should vet them, and the ones who want to come here legally should be afforded that opportunity. But instead, we're giving illegals free housing, health care, and money while treating Americans as second-class citizens. That's unacceptable to me.
Abe Hamadeh, thank you very much. Good luck to you going forward.